For this assignment, we're going to work through the comprehensive problem on page 71 and 72 of your textbook. And here again, we're going to create three of the financial statements: income statement, statement of retained earnings, and balance sheet. So since it's similar to what we did in chapter 1, let's go back and let's just start from what we created. So I'm going to open up the Excel spreadsheet that we created for chapter 1, and let's just go in and edit it and solve for the chapter 2 financial statement. So the name of the company is different. It's Bargain Electronics. Same date. Let's see, and their financial statements are going to be a little different. They're going to be in thousands. Now, if I put a number or a parenthesis sign, Excel will automatically assume that that is a formula. So, if I want it to read as narrative, I have to put a hyphen in front of it. So I'm going to start out, notice I'm going to put a hyphen and then put parentheses in thousands. So again, notice the hyphen. Otherwise, it'll read it as a number. Okay, and let's remember how to center that across columns. So click, drag, and choose Merge and Center. Okay, let's insert a row. We haven't done that yet. Between in thousands and revenue, let's put a row in there. So I'm going to click on the row 5, right click, choose Insert, and it inserts a row, spacing that out. Okay, and instead of service revenue, it's actually sales revenue. So let's go in and change service to the word sales. And then dollar amounts would be $12,456.9. And actually, we're going to want to go in and format so that we have one decimal. This is in thousands. Let's just do a little bit. Let's highlight that and see what it's going to look like. So let's do number, decimal 1, use a separator, and put parentheses for negative numbers, and click OK. Okay, so now it's in thousands, so it's going to look a little bit different. Okay, we got to go back in when I reformatted. Matter of fact, let's go when I reformatted. It took away my dollar sign, didn't it? I need to go put those dollar signs back in and leave it to one decimal point. Okay, and we need to change expenses. Will be cost of goods sold. Dollar amount 9501.4. Salaries and wages. $2933.6. Interest expense 1.5. And then I need to insert. There's 4 expenses, so I'm going to click on my 12, right click, choose Insert, and income tax expense. And notice how Excel automatically aligns that with the other expenses. Okay, my line's in the wrong place. I can't just delete that. I can go up to my borders. I'm going to choose No Border, and that gets rid of that line. I'm going to reposition it. It's not there. Okay, then I need to recreate my formula here. I'll do auto sum. I want it click and drag, add those 4. Okay, and notice we're actually getting to see the negative. We actually have a net loss. Let's do net income. Actually, we change that to net loss. 10.1 thousand. Okay, and we can just, again, like we did in chapter 1, we're going to click and drag, right click, copy, and we'll paste that into here. Okay, and let's insert. So I'm going to insert column. Okay. Let's see. This time, actually, we only know the ending. We know the ending retained earnings is 1336.3. Looks like they didn't have any dividends. So my subtotal also needs to be 1336.3. Oh, I see. I need to go in and format those, don't I? So let's go to number. Only one decimal place, commas, negative numbers. Okay. So actually I'm going to put a formula from my beginning. List software doesn't ask it for this, but what would be the beginning retained earnings would have to be how much? So that's going to equal 1336 minus my net loss, net income. There we go. I need to change the word net income. Net loss for this particular problem. Okay, so we actually didn't ask us for it, but we actually end up, I'm going to put that in yellow there, backed in and saw for beginning retained earnings, even though it didn't ask for it. Okay, I'm going to copy just the heading, paste, balance sheet, let's copy in thousands. And before assets, let's insert a row. Okay, so we got our income statement. Oops. Need to change the name of this to retained earnings statement. Okay, so we have our income statement's complete. Didn't ask for a retained earnings statement, but we went ahead and wrote it out because we had the format, so might as well. And then our balance sheet. Okay, and this time we've got a classified balance sheet. So we classify in terms of short-term and long-term. So short-term assets are called current assets. And I actually don't want that in bold and underlined. And I didn't want it in the middle. Let's take it to the left. And then the accounts, we want them, I'm going to click 3 and move them to the right. So cash is 141.1. Let's see, I need to go in and format those numbers to one decimal. So I'm going to move those over. Okay, and we've got accounts receivable. Yes, I'm going to replace that. Second, they have listed as debt investments. Move that. And that dollar amount is 382.6. And accounts receivable, 723.3. And then the last current asset is inventory. All of these are assets that are not going to be around in the long run. And the cutoff point is roughly a year. Okay, and then instead of total assets, it's going to be total current assets. And we'll indent that. Move it over 5. Okay, and I don't want the bottom, so no border. We need to insert, so right click, insert, then do it again, and again. Okay, so we have our current assets. Now let's list the long term. Equipment. Equipment. And goodwill. And we want those back to the left. Actually, equipment is net of its depreciation. So put the $921.0 and 202.7. And I see. And then we will total our assets. So my formula, I'm going to just sum those, all three current assets, equipment, and goodwill. Draw my line, draw my double line. I need to format these last three numbers to one decimal. Okay, let's put our $sign first number in each column. Remember to hit the control key, hold the control key down, and then total assets. And get rid of one of those decimals. Okay, so assets are finished. Liabilities. I'll change that to current for the short-term liabilities. And we've got one to add, so I'm going to insert it here at the bottom. There we go. To get rid of that line, so let's choose no border. So got rid of that. So notes payable, accounts payable, and then income taxes payable. Okay. Need to format these cells. Go down a ways just in case we go longer. Number, one decimal, comma, negatives. Okay. Alright, so notes payable, let's put the amount in, 784.6. Accounts payable, 922.2. And then income taxes payable, 7.2. Okay, then we need to sum that. Auto sum, add up those three, 17.4. And let's draw our line. There we go. And we need a section to insert some rows. And actually, if I want to do two at a time, I could actually highlight two, click and drag, and then insert, and it'll insert two or however many I have highlighted. Okay, let's do long-term liabilities. Mortgage payable. Mortgages are longer than a year, and notes payable are like loans. These are usually longer than a year too. My long-term liabilities, I need to move it back, so look it over. Mortgage payable 451.5 and notes payable 50.5. And then they drew a line. And right there, interesting enough, they didn't actually total long-term liabilities. We could do that. The textbook didn't do it, so we won't. We're going to sum just those two, mortgage and notes payable. I'm going to sum that. I'm going to draw another line, and we will have our total liabilities. I need to move that back left, so add up those two. Okay, now, interesting thing here, because I've got one line, and that's kind of confusing to read. Often then what we'll do is we'll insert, I'm going to go to C, insert a column. Let's do that and narrow it down a little bit. And let's go here and do no border. And now that kind of gets rid of that. Makes it just a little bit easier to read, so I can see these two equal that. 1,714 plus the 502 equals the 2216. Okay, stockholders' equity, common stock, 454.9, and then retained earnings will equal, I guess I've already got that reference, equals D25. After all these changes, Excel made the modifications and adds up there. Okay, then total liabilities and stockholders' equity. I'm going to do my auto sum. That'll be liabilities plus stockholders' equity, 4007.2, and that agrees with total assets. Okay, let's go in. Click on your control key and hold it down. So the first number in each column, so I'll highlight those two, and then my total liabilities, and then put a $sign there, and then get rid of one decimal. Okay, and then we're finished with the financial statements. So that's just going in and modifying, taking a formatted financial statement and revising it. The last thing I want to do is I want to add two ratios that were introduced in this textbook. In this particular chapter. One is the current ratio. I want us to calculate that. The current ratio just takes, so we're going to do our equal sign. It's going to equal current assets, which is this number. Okay, I'm going to go up here to my formula, and I'm going to divide that by, that's slash, current liabilities. So it's just taking current assets divided by current liabilities, and I get a 1.7. For every $1 of current liabilities, there's $1.70 of current assets. So plenty of current assets to pay off the current liabilities. And the other ratio is the debt to assets ratio. Let's calculate that. That is taking total liabilities divide by total assets. And I get 0.6. Usually that's in a percentage, so let's go up and make it a percent. Maybe we'll give it some decimals just to see. So 55.3, just 55.3. So the assets, 55% of the assets are financed with debt, which would mean the other 45% are financed with equity. Okay. So that completes our demonstration problem for Excel for Chapter 2.